So I'm just finishing up this video right now. It's 36 minutes long, which is way too long. I don't like my videos to be this long. So this is a disclaimer really quick. The reason it's 36 minutes long is because there's no other video for this 150 Super 150 kit. So I wanted to have a good amount of information in it. So that and the last like maybe 10 minutes is me and David talking, and we kind of go over what we had to do to fix the problems that we were having, which you'll see that as you get to it. Another thing that I want to go over right now, we are not professionals. I never say I'm a professional in any video, but I am not a professional, neither is David. So take what we say with a grain of salt. I know I always get comments in the comment section saying that, you know, I'm doing stuff wrong and blah, 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 blah. I'm really just genuinely trying to help people and trying to entertain. So take what we say with a grain of salt, and I hope you enjoy the video. What's up, guys? Today we are back in the shop. Today I'm here with my friend David.
Hello.
You might have seen him in a couple videos. He's got this Grom right here. Today we're going to be installing the Super 150 kit from Grom Motowerks. We're kind of going to go over the parts really quick. There's a lot of parts. Some is recommended, but he just doesn't have them. We'll kind of go over that through it, and then we'll go through the install process after that.
All right. So first here we got the, it's a fuel line that they recommend to use with the kit. It's a bigger fuel line than what the Grom originally comes with. These are clutch springs.
What's recommended or comes with it?
Yeah, what is recommended for the kit. They actually throw this in there. They don't really say they're going to, but this is a cool little gasket that actually goes in the header for the exhaust. You're supposed to replace these every time you change your exhaust.
I haven't.
Yeah, okay. I haven't either. This is a high performance cam.
Okay, and all this comes in the kit, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Most of these are additions. The clutch springs, the fuel line, and the cam are all additions, but they do come in the kit.
Okay.
You have your two different gaskets that you're going to be using.
Okay.
This is an add-on for the kit. It's an NGK sparkler, or I'm sorry,
sparkler. It's a spark plug.
It's a spark plug, and it comes with their size washers that they want you to use on there.
And that's an important thing. We'll go over that later in the video, so definitely make sure to stay tuned for that.
Yes, it is. And then this is the jug with the piston in it. And inside here, where they had all this bubble wrap, they had these little clips, and I don't remember what
it's
that's
like
called.
I don't know the correct terminology, but it's like a C-clip and like the little rod thing that connects it.
Yeah, the rod that connects the piston to the connecting rod.
Yeah, there you go. So, don't know the exact terminology, but we'll kind of go through it. And I'll try to show most of this stuff as best I can throughout the install process. There's no other video to try to help, so.
No. And then last but not least right here, you can't really see it very well, but this is the aftermarket head that will be going on here. It is ported, and it does have the valves in it, but it doesn't have the internals. We're going to have to add that from the stock head.
Okay.
And that's it.
That's pretty much it. So we're going to also do some other stuff. We'll kind of go through that through the video. He's kind of showed me what he has. He's got some stock parts to replace some gaskets or little, washers, like crush washers basically. So we're going to kind of go through that. We'll kind of go through it slow. This is kind of the first time ever installing a 150 kit, so definitely not a professional. Don't think we're professionals. We're just trying to help out and basically help you guys out if you ever need to do it. And if we have a problem, we'll obviously tell you guys. And if you have any questions, make sure to leave them in the comments and we'll let you know. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Let's get started. Okay.
Oh,
that thing was tight.
Yeah, I was on there.
So the first thing we're going to go ahead and start on is getting the top dead center all ready, and then we'll show you guys how to do that, and then we'll also drain the oil because that hasn't been done yet either. So yeah. Am I blind? There it is.
Yeah.
It's black on yours.
Well, my bike's
it's not black over here. It's just dirty.
My bike's been through some shit, alright? Oh, that looks beautiful.
It's almost like I've done this a couple times.
No, I'm talking about the color of the oil.
I think you're talking about me.
Oh no, you did do a great job. I usually get oil all over the place.
Yeah, I did great.
Yeah, you did.
Okay, so we got the oil draining, and now we're just going to go ahead and get top dead center. You're going to need to put it in neutral first.
It is in neutral.
But it is in neutral.
Yep.
And then we're going to go ahead and take off this little cam cover, which I will get the tools for. So we're going to sit this out of the way. So basically, he just stuck a 17mm in here, spun it, and then you just watch for where the T comes in. There's a small T in there, if you could see it. You could see it right there. Really hard to see. There's a small T in here, which is top dead center. Then you're going to come over to your cam, and there's this little line or dot right there. You're going to line up that dot with this, and then that should be top dead center. So you'll have to remember all this when you're putting it all back together as well. So we're going ahead and taking off all the little accessories or things around here. So this is the O2 sensor. You just took that out. And then also just taking off some of these little brackets and stuff like that. It's just on there. Just getting all the unnecessary stuff out of the way.
May have never changed it.
This is going to be exciting. Let's look how lean it's running.
Oh, it's been running super lean ever since I got this thing.
Casper the spark plug. I like that. Casper.
It's taking forever to come out. This is it. Here we go. Ew.
It's pretty nasty, man.
That's pretty bad.
What do you have to say for yourself?
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Okay, so we got all the additional bullshit off. Haven't taken the throttle body off yet, or valve covers.
Do we need to take off the plastics? They're putting serial numbers on condoms now. Did you know that?
No fucking way.
Yeah. Did you not know that? You might not be unraveling it all the way. So we went ahead and took off the exhaust as well. That's one thing we forgot. So everything is pretty much taken off of the head and the cylinder, and we're just kind of getting it all ready. So there's this bolt right here. We're going to go ahead and take that out so we can get the cam out.
And what that bolt goes to is one of the cam chain rollers. And so we have to take that out so we can take the roller out to eventually end up sliding the jug off.
Yep. What'd you do? What'd you do? Oh my gosh. I had it the wrong way?
Yes!
Whoops.
Okay, there we go.
So I'm just holding this at top dead center. Then he loosened that bolt holding on the cam, or the, what is it called? The cam sprocket.
Yep.
So now he's just got that bolt out. Now we're going to try to slide the cam sprocket out of there.
Oh no.
When you take off the cam chain tensioner down below and everything, that loosens this, this, you know, chain.
Yep.
So now that we got this cam sprocket out, now make sure this doesn't fall back in there. It's not really going to be too much of an issue, but you just don't want it falling way back in there. It's going to be a little bit more of a pain. There's 4 12mm nuts that we're taking off here. These are holding on the head. Again, make sure you kind of disconnected everything, including the throttle body and pretty much everything. And then we're going to slowly slide off the head. Might have to bump it with a mallet just a little bit to make it break loose. Also, don't forget these little 8mm bolts on the side right here. Also, another thing I just thought about, there's a copper washer on this bottom corner right here. All the other ones are just a normal washer. So now he's just slowly sliding off the head. Hopefully the front fender doesn't get in the way.
No, it's in the way.
It's in the way?
It's all right. I'll repaint it.
There we go.
It's been running lean ever since it's...
You know what? Let's take a look at that piston. It doesn't look as bad as what I thought it was going to look like, honestly. The way you were talking about your bike. The way you were talking about your bike, I thought it was going to be pretty bad.
You know what? The piston doesn't look that bad.
No.
However, I have a feeling the cylinder may look a little worse than that. But no, the piston actually, that's not that bad. And my bike almost has 10,000 miles on it.
Yeah, that's not bad at all.
No.
That's not bad at all.
No, not at all.
So, yeah, pretty much the next step is taking out the cylinder, and there shouldn't be anything in the way. We've already disconnected pretty much everything.
Yep.
So now it should just slide off. If you have a problem getting these off, and they don't just pull off normally. You could take like a soft mallet or something and kind of softly hit it on the side. Don't obviously jam it in there, but that just helps get it loose. But this one's wiggling, so it should pop right off.
All right, so as you're pulling this off, you want to be careful. The Honda Grom has an aluminum case, and right here behind, right behind this jug, is an area where you're gonna have to put a gasket. And if you pull this out and let the piston and the connecting arm just fall, it can end up falling and end up damaging this gasket or damaging the case to a point where you're gonna have to get a new one. We don't want that to happen, so we're just gonna go ahead and put that right there. I got some pretty decent score marks in here, and it seems to be on, let's see here, what side is that? It's on the exhaust side. The intake side doesn't look like it has any score marks. Yeah, it's a lot less scoring on the intake side versus the exhaust side. So while you're doing this, you want to make sure you keep track of these pins right here. Sometimes they come off and they stay in the crankcase, and sometimes they come off and they stay on the jug, but you want to make sure to keep your hands on these things. Don't let them get away from you. Okay, so right here in the head, you have this little piece right here that holds these rods in, which hold your exhaust, or hold the rocker arms for the exhaust and the intake valves. And so what you have to do is you have to take this little bolt out. It's right here. It was right in there. Took that out. You just go and shake this piece out. Try to hold on to these two rods. Don't let those fall out. And after that, you pull these rods out. And as you pull these rods out, you're going to end up having the rocker arm come out. So make sure you hold on to that as you're pulling these out. Sometimes you need pliers or to relieve pressure. Yep, there it goes, right there, beautiful. And we're gonna go ahead.
So now the rocker arm.
Yep, the rocker arm comes out.
Real easy. There it is.
And when you pull these out, you want to make sure that you don't mess up these bearings. You mess up these bearings, there's no putting them back together. You have to get new ones. And as you see right there, there's an E on this one, so we know that's exhaust. The other one.
All good.
There we go. Got that one out and still got the little bearing attached right there. And this one has I for intake. Make sure you keep these two rods with their respective rocker arms. Okay, so here is the head that came with the Super 150 kit. And one thing that's very important to look at is right in here where the cam bearing sits, it's ground down just enough to where the cam will actually fit in there. So if you have an OEM head, this cam will not fit. There it is. As soon as you moved, I got it in.
I was like, what is this?
Chris angeled that shit. All right.
So on the exhaust side, we're going to go ahead and put on the exhaust rocker. Again, make sure that you're putting it on the correct side. If you have to sit it in line, the exhaust side is down on this end. So this is the new head that he's working on right now.
And it's also important to keep your exhaust pin and the intake pin separate, because as you can see right here, they're different sizes.
Yep.
However, for mine, the longer one is the exhaust pin. Okay, so at first when we were putting the rocker arms in, we did not adjust the valve clearance, and that's a big problem, or that's a big issue, because I know with the valve clearances before, there's something like 0.004 and 0.007, but with this Super 150 kit, for the exhaust and the intake, they are both 0.002. So we couldn't get the rocker arms in properly. But after we adjusted that, we went and got these pins in here. They're sitting nice and flush the way they need to. And then this piece comes in right here. Then after I get these twisted in the right position, bolt goes in, head's ready to be installed.
So we went ahead and did the first one. So he's putting on two nuts. You can see the two nuts right here. So you can see one nut there, one nut there. We're gonna tighten those against each other like he's gonna do right here. So you're gonna tighten them pretty good. It might help, you know, to have a friend or something hold it. Get them nice and tight, not obviously break the bolt or anything. Now you're gonna wanna get on this back nut and loosen slowly, which will remove the exhaust stud. We've already moved this one over here. Once it focuses, we've already removed and replaced this one. So it does work, so it's just kind of hard. So it helps to have a friend hold the top of it as he's kind of doing there. And also whenever you do that, it would probably help to get a brass brush, kind of clean up those threads a little bit.
All right, so how to take off the piston is right in here. There's a little, this is a dig pocket right here. It's this little pocket right here where you could actually reach in with a pick or something and grab the ring. Now I would not recommend doing metal to metal contact or with a screwdriver or something like that with something you plan to keep. So this piston, I mean, I'm gonna keep it, but if it gets messed up, it gets messed up. We're gonna reach in here and pull out this little ring. We got this clip out of here, this little ring that was holding in the pin to the retaining rod. And now all you need to do is take out one. After that, you could slide the pin that's holding the piston to the connecting arm. And once you do that, you should be able to just push it right out.
So now he's just gonna work on taking off this little gasket here. He's using a plastic razor, not a metal one. A metal one's fine, you just have to be really, really careful. So a plastic one is obviously better, but it's definitely sticking on there pretty good, so it's gonna take a little bit of work.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, we'll be back once we figure this out. All right, so David and I have found the hardest problem in this whole thing, and that's just getting the gasket off. It has had a lot of miles, so we're having to use, unfortunately, a metal razor to get it off. So not really a recommended thing, but we're having to do it, so we're trying to be very careful. While he's finishing that up, I'm gonna go ahead and take off this side cover, go ahead and do the clutch springs, and he's also got a straight up pumps oil pump. So we're gonna go ahead and do that while he's working.
Katako high flow oil pump.
Oh, sorry. So just catching you guys up, David went ahead and got the gasket already cleaned up and everything, cleaned it up with some alcohol as well. Then I went ahead and changed over the oil pump, put the straight up pumps oil pump on there, and I was gonna go ahead and do the clutch springs, but I really don't wanna move the crank or spin it, whatever, so I'm just gonna wait on that. Now the next thing we have to do is the piston right here, while we're focused. So with the piston, we're gonna connect that, but we wanna make sure these rings around it, or the gasket, O-ring, whatever they're called, are spun the correct way. So this is the top right here, bottom, right and left. You don't want any of the gaps. There's gonna be gaps, like see that little gap right there? You want them to be angled where they're not at 12, 3, 6, or 9. You want them to be, kind of in the middle. So you're gonna do your first one, maybe like on this side at the bottom or something like that. And then your second one, do on the opposite side, but just make sure that they're not top, left, right. And then on the third one, do the same as the first one. So that way it's kind of opposite. He's also just putting some assembly lube on the inside of the cylinder before we put the piston in there. The piston did come in the cylinder whenever we ordered it, or he ordered it, but we went ahead and took it out just to make sure that those rings were like we were talking about. So we just made sure that was right. Put some assembly lube, and then he's just gonna use his finger to kind of spread it out and then flip it over. He's gonna do the same thing on the other side. And then we're gonna put the piston in, kind of like at the back section, and then connect it to the connecting rod. And that's pretty much it. It's pretty self-explanatory. So before we throw it in there, David's just throwing in this really small black clip on one of the sides. And then that way the little piece right here, when you throw it on the center, basically stops once it hits it.
So I just noticed something as I took, and this is my first time taking it out of the bubble wrap packaging, and I just found out that there is a little stained piece of wood. It's super tiny, and it says Finborough Racing Industries. I'm probably gonna take it off because my bike is not gonna last with that on there. That's gonna come off. But I thought it was really cool, a little keepsake.
Putting some assembly lube inside of there. Yeah, when you're putting this together, make sure you remember to put in the dowels. There's one on the top here, one on the right here. On the first one back here, there's two, and they're both on the side. I didn't say anything about it, but definitely make sure that you don't forget the dowels.
We didn't say anything about it because I forgot.
Well, you ruined the surprise there, but
well, you know what?
We forgot.
I'm full of surprises, so it's okay. Jesus Christ.
Yep, putting the camera down. So we were having some issues putting on the head. It was just really tight trying to get those little, what do you call them?
Dowels.
Dowels inside of the cylinder, or where it goes into the cylinder. So we actually had to put them into the head and then get it on there, and then kind of like not pound it, but just easily hitting it with the mallet trying to kind of get it in there. It was so tight. We also lubed up the little dowel inserts in the cylinder, but it's all in there now. So now we're slowly going to just tighten down on these, just trying to pull it in there all the way. So you're going to want to double check and make sure that it's on the T. Then we're going to take the cam sprocket and try to put it in position. This is probably one of the more irritating parts, but you got to get the chain around the sprocket and try not to turn it at the same time and get it on the right tooth. It'll take a minute, so be patient.
Why is it so freaking hard? We don't have the cam.
So the cam sprocket is now on. It is at top dead center. That was definitely a little bit of an irritation. Definitely make sure through this little sight glass there's a little T, not the F, but the T. Make sure that it's on top dead center, and then make sure these lines line up. And then we also spun it around one complete revolution just to make sure that this stayed all the same, and it's perfect. So yeah, happy?
Well, now we got to do the valves, so.
Irritation.
Yeah, next irritation.
Well, let's throw in these bolts and then tighten everything up.
We'll throw in those bolts, and then we'll put the cam tensioner back in. Cam tensioner spring.
So yeah, we're going to throw in the 2 bolts here. We're going to tighten all this up and then put the cam chain tensioner in on the bottom. I am back on this side. I'm going to go ahead and handle changing out the clutch springs, and I'm also just going to go ahead and clean this out while I'm at it. If you guys don't know how to do this, I have a separate video. Definitely make sure to check that out if you have any questions, but I'm just going to get to it. So this side cover is back on. I went ahead and changed out those clutch springs. As I said before, he's went ahead and took the intake system, kind of put it off to the side, and right now he's adjusting the valves, and he already tightened down all of the studs. I think it's 18 foot-pounds for the side, or these, and then the sides right here, which are actually loose.
Yeah, I haven't tightened those down yet.
Okay, well, we need to tighten those. But yeah, so he's adjusting the valves right now, and it's 0.002 on the valves, intake and exhaust. So yeah, we're just going to keep putting stuff on. I'm going to work on the exhaust next. Just keep working. All right, so I went ahead and got the exhaust on, so all that's done. Got like the O2 sensor stuff ready. He's actually working on trying to get the throttle body back on so he could change out the fuel line that we need to change out. He went ahead and adjusted the valves, both 0.002 on intake and exhaust. And yeah, so we're just going to keep motoring along. I mean, this is kind of going back in the same process as you took it off, other than the fuel line, obviously. But pretty simple, pretty self-explanatory. Yeah. All right, so it has been a little while. We've kind of worked on getting this fuel line around here. The fuel line is kind of an irritation. But you just have to be really careful. Just pull this little pin out, and then it just kind of comes off. Some of them kind of gave us a little bit of trouble, but this is how we ran the fuel line as well. It was a little long, so we put the 90, one side is a 90 degree, which is here, and then it comes up, and when it comes around to the other side, we have it straight, just coming down. Let's see, so many lines.
It's right in here. If you duck down, you could get a shot of it right there.
Yep. So
this is the line right here. Fuel injector's right here.
And we did upgrade the fuel injector as well. So, but yeah, we just kind of went over and made sure everything was tight, put on the intake and everything. So now we are going to finish by putting on the plastics, putting the plastic on that side, putting oil in it, putting some gas in it. Also, it probably helped to take the gas out of this before you take that fuel line out. If anything, pop the fuel line on the bottom and then have something to put it in down here or something. So, but yeah, that's pretty much it. Oil, fuel, plastics, and we'll see if it cranks.
We'll see. Hopefully we get no valve flash.
What's the worst that could happen?
Valve lash.
So you're going to need to prime the fuel pump. So he's just going to be turning the kill switch off and on over and over and over, basically making sure that it's going to put fuel into the system. Going to do that a couple times. Let's give it a tiny bit of gas.
All right, well, you know what? After all our troubleshooting, I think we may have finally found out what was wrong. Towards the end of our build, I took off this little wooden Finborough Racing Instinct piece, and I think this may be the one thing that we did that we probably shouldn't have.
In all seriousness, we don't know what the heck's going on. A big thank you to Dingerbilt. He has always helped me, and I appreciate it very much. I just wanted to give a huge shout out to him. He has nothing to do with this, but I called him. I was trying to figure out what the heck's going on, and he is awesome. So a big shout out to Dingerbilt. But yeah.
Yeah, he knows a lot. He knows what he's doing. Very smart guy, very knowledgeable guy.
Yeah, but we couldn't figure it out. We'll definitely let you know in the comments or description or whatever what happened. Maybe I'll put it at the end of the video right now. All right, so it is about 3 weeks later, something around there. The bike is working now, but I wanted David to kind of explain what the heck went on, what he had to go through, since there's no other videos kind of explaining how to install this, and what went wrong obviously is going to trip everybody up. So I wanted to explain at the end of the video, but obviously David's best to explain, so I have David here. So let's let him explain real quick.
Okay, so I want to start off by saying that over here where I'm at, we don't have very many people that know how to work with tuners like the Bazzaz or A-Racer. They're just not here. You know, most people come in and you tell them you got a Honda Grom you want tuned, and they say you got a what? So, you know, we don't have too many people that can tune engines around here, at least Grom engines. So I had, if we would rewind back a little bit, I had the stock throttle body, I had the stock air tube, I had the stock air box, I had everything stock. I started by changing out the throttle body. I got the Coso, got the Coso throttle body. I also got the brass screw. I got the air hose that goes, or the air tube, or the tube that goes from the throttle body to the air box, and I also got the Coso Racing air filter to go in there. I didn't go full cold air intake. After I did that, I was still having problems. I couldn't figure out, didn't know. I contacted a guy on Facebook, one of the people I know. They say he's like the A-Racer genius. So I contacted him, and he told me, he said that the cam that you have is too aggressive. You know, it's basically built to be a race cam. With that, or a race bike. With that cam, the bike's power band is like from 8,000 to 11,000 RPM. It's not really meant to be a daily driver. So he recommended me to get it's a T-bolt cam. I got the T-bolt cam. I installed it, and literally after I installed that thing and I had the bike running, it took me probably about 20 to 30 minutes to actually get it to where there's no more RPM. There's no more hanging RPM. As a matter of fact, I can even start the bike right now and show you.
Yeah, and we kind of talked about this. This is kind of weird that they wouldn't say it's a race cam or anything like that. I guess they're thinking, oh, Super 150, they're going to race it, but that's not always the case. So maybe there should be some better writing saying, hey, it's a race piston. If you want it for street, you're going to want to get the T-bolt cam, you know, something along those lines.
Yeah, what I was thinking is if they put on the website or something that this is recommended for a race vehicle only. So there are some stuff on their website that states that this motor application is not legal in the state of California. And it's because California has weird laws about upgrading stuff, and it turns it into a race vehicle then or whatever.
Yeah, there's nothing legal in California anymore.
No, there's not. I mean, for Christ's sake, they're trying to outlaw, what was it? They're trying to outlaw vacuum cleaners or something. Anyways. It was leaf blowers.
Oh my gosh.
But, yeah, if they put like, if you're going to race the bike, we recommend this, because your idle with that cam is ridiculously high. And on top of that, you have no power from idle till you're up into like the 6,000 RPM range. You have less power than what you do with the Grom stock. It's ridiculous. But let's go ahead and let me see if I can flip this camera around. Let's go ahead and give this baby a turnover real quick. This is a cold start. So
just to show that it works. There you go.
A little bit cold, so it's not very happy, but
yeah. Yeah, works perfectly. If anything, your idle looks a little low.
So yeah, I know the idle looks low. The idle's not low. It's because the bike's not warmed up. Now that it has all this kind of special stuff done to it, it really needs to be warmed up before it's fully idling properly and everything. But so the way that I did it, the way that I got this adjusted and dialed in, what I did was I started with the air screw on the throttle body, the brass air screw, completely closed. And then from there, I just adjusted the idle. I would adjust the idle, and then I would go onto the A-Racer. I have the RC Mini Plus 2. I would go in there and go to the fuel base and adjust it and make sure to keep it within the 13.3, 12.8 fuel to air ratio range. And I would just keep doing that. And I would rev it. And if it got hung up, I would turn the throttle, the little throttle screw on the throttle body, just a little bit, close it just a little bit, and then it would die down, and then I'd blip it again, and keep doing that until I got it to where it'll drop off, but the bike's almost dying at this point. So then from there, I go and adjust the air screw on the throttle body, the little brass screw, and open it up just enough to where now, because if you open it too much and you blip it, it'll hang again. So then you got to close it and kind of get it in that sweet spot, and that's how I did it.
Okay. And yeah, just to kind of say something too, we're not professionals. Neither David or I are not professionals. So just in the comments, if people are like, oh, you're supposed to do it this way, we're just trying to help the general public, the general people that don't know what goes into doing one of these things. And obviously there's no video on this, so we want to try to help people out to show how to install it. And then obviously, since it wasn't working, we want to explain how to fix it. So. But yeah,
I've never really done any motor work. I've never worked on not a carburetor, but a throttle body. I've never done any of this. I've never tuned a bike. I don't really know what goes into doing that. Well, I have a really good feeling of what goes into doing that now. and I mean, I went into this project after my other project. I built a 300 Grom too. You know that, Kyle. Yeah. And a lot went into building that thing, and I just this Grom was another step into building.
Yep. So. If anything, you're going to learn along the way, and that's just part of building bikes and everything like that. So, but yeah, that's pretty much it. Just wanted a quick kind of. I know it was a little bit longer, but honestly, I was going to cut some of this down, but at the same time, I really want a lot, if not all of that information, just because it's really important information for anybody planning on doing this. So sorry the video got a little bit longer, but in my opinion, it's important information, and if you can watch this video, learn what you need to learn without going on forums or trying to figure other things out, hopefully this will help and be beneficial. But yeah, that's pretty much it.
Yeah.
I guess we'll see David in a future video. He'll be on his bike. He's also got the 300 Grom, so we might see him on that as well.
Yeah.
So, but yeah.
Yeah, guys, just make sure. Hey, when you're doing something like this, never give up.
You can ask Kyle. We were both a little upset, a little downtrodden when we left his house.
I was like, how? I was like, how does it not work? I don't know how to do this at all, but I did it on mine, and it works, so I was just so confused.
Just telling you guys, never give up. Do your research. Listen to the people that know about this kind of stuff. You know, if they tell you something, you should probably, vet them. Get them vetted out. The guy that I talked to, it actually turned out to be the customer. He might even own the company. I don't know. It actually turned out to be the guy that does the customer service for Ren Motorworks. And I ended up contacting him on Facebook. Didn't even know that's who it was. And he's like, it's funny because I was talking to him on Facebook. He's like, get the T-Bolt cam. And then I emailed Ren Motorworks, and I was like, yeah, guys, so what do you guys think about this? Because I wanted to have multiple opinions. And the guy goes, I told you, get the T-Bolt cam. And I was like, ooh. And I messaged him on Facebook. I'm sorry, man. I didn't mean to step on your toes and look like an asshole, but he's like, nah, man, it's all cool.
Yeah.
All cool.
And I remember back in the day, I can't remember what I bought now. I think it was an ECU or something for my first Grom, and that I got from Ren Motorworks. I remember having the RW, or what was it? Ren Motorworks, RMW on the side of my bike, so I remember that. But anyways.
Yeah.
But all right, well, it works. Everything works.
Yeah.
Thank you guys for watching, and thank you, David, for making it work. I know I helped the first day, but after that, it was pretty much all David. It was just me and him kind of talking every now and then, kind of seeing what was going on.
Yeah.
But anyways, all right, I think we're going to end the video here. Hopefully everybody enjoyed. I know it went really long, but whatever. So,
Yeah.
all right. See you guys later.
Later.
All right, guys. See you next week.